Hi guys. So my last video on approach was just a few days ago, and I tried to walk you through the fundamentals of what's really going on underneath and what's really happening when you're approaching someone, and what do you want to happen, and what's the best case scenario. So today I'm going to go through some steps. So this is the other end, the practical steps that it takes to go from where you are now to getting the date. So going through those steps, right? So these are not necessarily all the steps there are. You don't necessarily have to follow every single one of these steps, but a lot of them, most of them, you want to follow in some way, some fashion or another. Now, I'm just going to take a scenario and a starting point, which is not always going to be the case for everyone, but it will be the starting point for a lot of people. So now all these things are going to work. It's just that you might already know how to do them, or already be good at it, or already be doing it automatically and not realize it. So, or you already have something else that does the same thing. So you don't necessarily need to add every single one of these steps, but they are good steps. And there's plenty of other things. This is a huge subject area. There's a ton of things you can do. There's a lot of details to it. So we'll just start with one and go through all the steps. Now you want to stay to the end because you don't want to miss those last few steps. You know, those are pretty important. But really, you know, as you follow the steps through, most of them are important in some way. So where are we starting? So say you're sitting at your computer, you're on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. Now, what do you do? What do you do from there? So the first idea to get down is, in order to approach women, you have to approach women. I know I've said this before. So it means you have to get up out of the chair, leave the house, and go approach people in some area. So you want to go somewhere where there's a lot of people, are the best places. So could be a mall, could be a beach, could be a park where there's a lot of people. If you live in a populated city, that's the best thing, because, or if you can get to one, there'll be places where there's lots of people. A festival, an event, so somewhere where there's a bunch of people. So now when you go out, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. One is your energy level and where you're at, and number two is warming up. So there's two different ways in which you need to warm up. One is, if you're just sitting at your computer all alone and you haven't talked to anybody all day, your voice is going to probably crack the first time you talk to somebody. So you don't want to just get up out of your chair, walk, out to your car, get in it, drive to the mall, get out, and the first beautiful woman you see, walk up to her and try and talk to her, because you've made no warm-up, you've made no adjustment, right? So some of the things you can do is at least use your voice, like at least talk to yourself in the mirror, talk to yourself, sing in the car on the way there, put on some music and sing to it, or talk, so at least you get used to using your voice. Another thing is, if there's someone you live with, if there's someone around to talk to them so that you're in the mode of talking. And next, when you get to the place you're going where there's a bunch of people, so once you get there, you'll be a little bit warmed up, is go up and talk to just not super attractive women at first. Talk to not necessarily the people you want to date, but other people. So just talk to everybody. Talk to people who are older, people who are younger, people who you don't find attractive. Just talk to everybody. Talk to guys, and just go up and spark conversations with people. Ask them where the restroom is, or what time it is, or how to get to Starbucks, or try and find things that you really need, but otherwise just ask them some question. Think of some question, some mundane question to ask people. So warm yourself up, talk to people. Then once you get warmed up, it's good to, this is a good point to do this at. You can also do this before you leave the house. Do some grounding. Do a grounding exercise. And I will put a grounding exercise link that I'll send out to you in the description, so you can go down and look for that. take just a couple minutes, 2 minutes, by yourself, sit down and ground, stand up and ground, you can do it either way, and so that you're rooted into the earth before you go. Then drop your energy in your body. So just set your intention that your emotions and your energy drop low in your body, that they drop into your legs, that they drop down, at least, your stomach and below. You want your energy down there. You don't want your energy up here because you get nervous and top heavy when you're thinking. Next, set your intention to come from your body, to feel your body, tap your arms. You can slap your arms, slap your legs, like this. Just realize that you're in a body and try and stay in your body. Once you're talking to somebody, you want to be in your body while you're talking to them, not up in your head. So you don't want to be up here thinking of things to say, or having lines to say, or trying to memorize things to do or say, because then you're up here and you're top heavy, and people are not attracted to people who are all up in their head usually, right? You're attracted to people who are embodied, who are grounded. So set the intention to stay in your body, and try and remind yourself that you're in your body. Now, when you see someone that's attractive, you're going to walk up to them. Just quickly put your attention on the bottoms of your feet, because that will help keep you grounded. You've already done a couple minutes of grounding, so now this will help solidify that and keep it up to date while you're walking over there. Then, when you walk up, just the simplest thing to do is just introduce yourself to the person. There's two ways you can do this. You can do, the direct or indirect approach. It's direct to walk up to someone and just introduce yourself. Say, "Hi, my name is James." Stick your hand out, shake their hand. They'll tell you their name. Then you can begin to talk to them. And to do a direct approach, you would say something like, "You're so beautiful, I just had to come over and talk to you." And just tell the truth. You want to be authentic. You want to be saying what you really feel, right? Rather than what you think. So you want to be saying what you feel. If you're feeling pulled to them, if you're feeling attracted to them, then that's true. If you feel that they're beautiful, then tell them that. If you feel that this woman is gorgeous, just say what you feel. Now, another thing to remember is to keep your heart open. So set your intention for your heart to be open. And another important thing is to make good eye contact. So now when you go out at first, you're going to need to practice. Here's the important thing. You're not going out to get a date. You're not going out to get a number right now. Not at first. At first, you're going out to practice. Practice grounding, practice paying attention to your feet, practice walking up to the person, and then take some time to just practice that first. And then once you think you got that down, then don't think about that. Then the next time, practice walking up to the people with your heart open. Oh, can I walk up with my heart open? Then once you've kind of grooved into that, then walk up, and then you can maybe really quickly go, okay, feet, heart, in my body, okay. Now walk up and then make good eye contact. And good eye contact, of course, is not staring and never looking away. It's being casual and connecting to the person. Now, what you can do is imagine that there's like a beam coming from your eyes, going into their eyes, and then going through into their head, into their body, right? So there's a connection, like you want a tethering cord to be going between your eyes, right? And also, when you're making eye contact, there's a certain amount of pressure you can put with your eyes. You can kind of do it with real intention and kind of look into the person, right? And you don't want to do that too much, because then you're like staring into them, and that they'll find that uncomfortable probably. You also don't want to just glaze out and, not really be looking at them like you can see their eyes. So there's a narrowness and a wideness of focus. So you want to kind of come in at just the right place. So this is something you have to practice and make it somewhat narrow so that you're holding some pressure, but then let up. So there's waves in all of this. So you're not necessarily, it's not like, okay, do this, always do this for every second of the time you're looking at them. It's like, no, things ebb and flow, they come and go, so you want to narrow that gaze sometimes and then widen it out other times. So if you feel like it's good to start with a little more narrow, kind of push in, then kind of relax and let go. And it's good to look away sometimes. Don't look at something interesting you can see over your shoulder, and then look back. So that's good eye contact. But you need to practice this. You need to go out, day after day. It's good to go out every day. And it's better to go out just for a little bit of time every day than try and blow out 4 hours on Saturday. Go out, excuse me, dry throat, it's really hot today. Try to go out, 20 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. That's way better than trying to blow yourself out 4 hours on Saturday or Sunday or something like that. So, you can still go for long periods of time if you'd like, but it's more important to be consistent about it, because you can go out and then you don't go out for a month or 2 months and you're not really building anything. It's like going to the gym. You need to do it a few times a week or you're not going to build any muscle. So, excuse me. So get out there and practice. And practice the different parts separately so that you're not in your head and thinking when you're talking to the person. So practice doing the grounding, practice staying in your body, practice opening your heart, practice with your eye gazing. And then you kind of get them together, and then you can build the connection I talked about in the last video. So you can refer back to the last video on approaching. It was just a few days ago. So now once you are talking to her, once you're talking to the person, then you can start to, you want to also set your intention here at this point to be curious about her. So also with your gaze, when you're looking into her, be actually curious. Actually wonder about her. Like, you need to really be curious. You can't just pretend to be curious. You need to be curious. And now this is also something you can focus or practice on at other times. You can practice on it just looking at people from a distance. Just be curious about them. I wonder what they're doing. What are they up to? What are they about? So when you're talking to, who is this person? I don't really know her. I'm curious to know about her. I'm curious, what is she like? Do I want to date her? That's another thing. Just because someone looks attractive doesn't mean that you necessarily want to date them. You want to make sure that you're dating the right person. You want her to be someone that you want to be with. Guys have a tendency to just accept whoever looks attractive, then you go out with. But you don't want to do that. That's not going to go well. So you want, and also that puts the ball completely in her court, and it means that you're not leading, right? You're allowing her to make all the choices. You want to make a choice too, because both people in a relationship, no matter how long or short it is, need to be choosing each other. So you need to be choosing her as much as she's choosing you. And in order to do that, you want to be curious about her and ask her questions about herself to find out what you want to know about her. And her hobbies, what she's interested in, what she is like, with how she feels about things, whatever is important to you, whatever resonates with what you do and what you like. And you can also sit down before you go out and write down, what are the qualities you're looking for? What type of woman do you want? Do you know? So get a piece of paper, get a journal, write all these things down before you go out. So now you know what questions to ask. Who you're looking for. You're not just looking for any old attractive woman, right? You want someone that is going to be the right person for you. So it's so hot, I'm sweating a lot here, I'm dripping. So ask her questions, talk to her. Then it's good to, then move on with your day. What you can do is one of two things. Either go on with the next thing you were going to do, just tell her, I need to go, but, give me your number and we can get together later. But also, if you have the time, if you're it's not just 15 minutes before you have to go to the gym. If you're doing your approaches, the 15 minutes before the gym, then let her know, oh, I've got to go to the gym now. And then, you can get her number. And rather than say, can I have your number, ask for the number. The better way to do it is to, save her some time and effort. Open up your phone, go to the contact section. You already know her name. Put her name in one of the new contacts. Then hand her your phone and say, put your number in. Why don't you give me your number? Whatever, however you want to phrase it. And that makes it a lot easier for her. She can just put it in, and then you're not asking her for something. So another thing to remember, another thing to practice too, is that when you're approaching someone, when you're talking to them, when you want to see if you want to date a woman, you want to be in a giving stance. You really want to do this with everybody in the world if you can. You should be providing something to them. You should be bringing something to the situation. So you want to be giving. You want to be sharing, not taking. So if you go out to get numbers, to get dates, to get sex, then you're in a taking stance, and you're taking from people. And women, especially women, are very sensitive. They have strong intuition. They can feel you. Believe me, they know what's going on inside you. They might not even be thinking about it, and they might not consciously know, but part of them knows what's going on inside you, and they're going to think it's weird or creepy. If you want to take from them, most of the time they're going to feel that, and most of the time they're not going to like it. So you want to be giving, and this is a better way to be anyway. So, and you want to do this with everyone, really. And just set your intention to come to this place, to come to this person from a giving stance, so that you're providing. You have a lot to share. Every one of us is an interesting person who has, interesting things to say and do, and a history, and all whatever the things that make you up are. And go into it willing to share those things with her, seeing if she's the person you want to share those things with, rather than, let me see if I can get her number, let me see if I can get something from her. So go into the situation trying to share a part of yourself with another human being, because that's really what's going on, is that you're sharing yourself with another person. And it's substantial, it's important. Even a casual relationship that only lasts a couple hours is still a substantial thing, and it's still something you want to approach from a stance of giving. And it feels better for her and for you and for everyone. It just works out better. So that's a good intention to have, and that's also something to practice in your daily life. You can just practice with everyone. When you walk up to someone, or try and get things from people, and a lot of times people, well, I don't get things. Well, a lot of times what we're trying to get from people is we're trying to get approval from people. We're trying to get compliments from people. We're trying to get love from people. We're trying to get attention from people. And those are the kind of things that people are. And when someone says you're being needy, that's what they mean. If you feel like you don't have enough sex, don't have enough love, don't have enough attention, don't get enough compliments, don't have enough people that are proud of you, and you try to get these things from other people, that's called being needy. And that's exactly what you don't want to do, because people don't find that attractive. So come to it from a giving place, not a needy place. And nice guys will often do this without, I have other videos and things on nice guys, or you can check out Dr. Robert Glover's book, You Are Mr. Nice Guy, if you're not familiar with the nice guy syndrome. So you can check that out. But nice guys will come from a place often of taking, right? Of not giving, but taking. And they don't know they're doing it usually, right? So this is very, very common. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Now, if you decide to get her number, you can do that, because you have to go off to the gym. Or if you have time, ask her out on a date right then. Ask her if she wants to go get coffee, get a drink, go for a walk in the park, get a glass of water, whatever it is. Ask her to go do something that's small. And this is actually a really good thing to do for her and for you. So it's a small ask, it's not that big. And as far as dates go, it's pretty small. If you're just going to get ice cream or a coffee, then if it turns out you're not a good fit for her, you're really not interested in her, it's not going well, you don't like her, or she's, she could be off in some way, then it's easy. The exit is clear. You just stand up and say, thank you, it was nice meeting you, but I really need to go right now, and you're gone. It's over. So then you don't get trapped into some big dinner thing where you're stuck there and have to pay. I mean, that's the worst thing to do if you're just meeting with someone and have never been on a date with them. You don't want to get committed to some giant thing. It's not good for you, and it's not good for her. So do the small, safe one first, and then if that goes well, then you can move up to bigger things. So also, if she doesn't have time to do that, and she's busy, she needs to go do something, and she declines to go get ice cream right then you can get the number from her, hand her your phone and get the number, and that's a smaller ask than going to get coffee, so now she's a lot more likely to give you the number. Now, for a person to want to be with you and the person to want to go on, whether it's the mini date or a big date or give you their number, or for them to want to do that, things have to be going fairly well in some stance. I mean, there are someone who will just give you the number or whatever to get rid of you, or just because they don't want to say no to someone. But in that case, you're probably not going to end up dating them much. You're probably not going to have that strong a relationship. There probably won't be anything that happens because there really is no emotional connection there. So that's another thing to remember, is that when you come to it from a grounded, open-hearted stance where you're embodied and you're in a giving state, then you are open to having an emotional connection with the person. And I alluded to that before, like with the eye contact, that's part of the emotional connection. The heart being open is also part of the emotional connection. And the idea is to make an emotional connection fairly quickly. And you want to make emotional connections with really anybody that you're attracted to, anyone you want to be around, because that's what humans do. They connect to each other emotionally. And if you connect to this woman emotionally, even if you only talk to her for a couple minutes and get her phone number and you don't do a lot right then, if you make a deep emotional connection, she's much more likely to get together with you and communicate with you later. So try to make an emotional connection, and you want to do this anyway. It's the right thing to do. It's really how humans act in a healthy way. So being around people that you're not emotionally connected to it's not the way we're built, so it's really not healthy to do that. So you want to make that emotional connection with her. And I know that seems a little abstract, but there is an emotional, energetic connection, and once you can follow the rest of these steps, that will start to kick in, and you can start to, but if you're aware that it exists and you're looking for it and you're doing all these other steps, you're going to start to notice that you can drop in with the person. Another thing you can do as a man, as a leader, when you're standing there talking, is to kind of hold space for her. So that's being compassionate and loving and being a good listener. It's good to be able to really actively listen to people. So when she's talking, do not be thinking about the next thing you're going to say. That is complete disconnection. That means you're not emotionally connected to her. So what you want to be doing is really listening to her, and if you're really curious, you will listen and care. So you want to care, and you want to hold space around her. And what I will do is just even imagine a big bubble around the two of you, and imagine this space, and just have the intention that you are protecting her, you're keeping her safe in this space, and that while she is with you, while she's talking to you, she's safe from the rest of the world. And just setting this intention, and I will actually kind of picture it in my head. It's not like a visualization really or anything formal. It's just something I happen to do. I just picture that I am keeping her safe, but also kind of holding her with compassion, so that I'm still inside and I'm holding this compassionate, loving space that's protective and is protecting her, and I'm giving her all my attention, really care about what she's saying, and I listen, quietly, calmly, and really try and take it in. And when you do that, the emotional connection will come. You build the emotional connection will come eventually when you're doing this. So continue to practice and do that, and I think that can really turn into whatever you want it to, whether it's just a sexual relationship or a long-term romantic relationship or a short-term relationship or whatever it is you're looking for. Any of those relationships are going to be deeper, more fulfilling, more enjoyable, more fun for both people when you can really hold space and really have a deep emotional connection with someone. So, if you can follow these steps, of course there is more to this. This is just a number of the steps that you can follow. This is an endless subject. There are a lot of books on it, like I mentioned. You can No More Mr. Nice Guy. You can read David Data's Way of the Superior Man. He talks about some of this. So it's a huge subject, but this will at least give you a framework of somewhere to start. And if you listen to my other video that's just a couple back, I can even put a link to that one in here too, but I think it's only a few days ago that it was posted. So you can check those out. And then I will also put a link to the grounding exercise in the bottom. And please comment and please ask questions. I really love when you guys ask questions, and I love to answer questions. So if you can ask some questions, that would be great. And remember to subscribe down at the bottom and to like the video. So have a great day, guys.